America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. We got a great show for you tonight, everyone. Please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions. We got a lot of different topics to talk to you about today. I was gone the last few days. Came down with a little something there, but I'm back. Inevitably, I will always be back. I'm here, not going anywhere. We got a great show, like I said, a lot of different topics. We're going to talk about the United States and Donald Trump positioning 2 nuclear warheads outside of Russia today. What the fuck is happening there? We will talk about Kentucky MAGA, which is a new super PAC being funded by Israeli donors to try and bury America First candidates. We'll talk about Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens' beef on Twitter. One of the most exciting things to happen on Twitter recently. We'll also talk about the Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens interview as well. I thought it was an interesting perspective. Their conversation on Nick Fuentes, too, we'll go over all that. We'll talk about Tucker Carlson's relationship to the CIA, too. We will also today talk about the CMS Digital Health Ecosystem, the new online platform that Donald Trump announced the other day that will involve major tech companies in the United States and why we all should be worried about it. I'll talk about Ghislaine's middle-of-the-night prison transfer. I'll talk about Bloomberg finally catching up to yours truly on the Epstein stuff. Donald Trump says some new information about Virginia Giuffre or Virginia Roberts. 160 House Democrats voted against your safety, and the Pelosi Act is making its way through Congress again. Like I said, we have a great show for you tonight, everyone. A lot to talk about, a lot of different things. We're going to go over it all. We'll break everything down, but please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment, send a super chat if you have any questions, but we're going to get right into the show tonight, folks. To talk about the first topic, I want to talk about Donald Trump announcing on Truth Social that he would be placing 2 nuclear warheads outside of Russia. I'm actually going to read you the Truth Social post from Donald Trump really quick. Let's pull it up. Based on the highly provocative statements of the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, I could be saying that wrong, who is now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions. Just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is obviously a large statement by Donald Trump. Donald Trump announcing that 2 nuclear warheads are placed outside Russia. This is following the former president of Russia's comments. And those comments slowly escalated on X. So the timeline of it is Donald Trump gave Russia a 50-day deadline for a ceasefire. And then Donald Trump came out in negotiations when he didn't think that Russia was acting in great faith and said that he is lowering it to a 10-day deadline. So by August 8th, 7 days from today, there would need to be a full ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. The former president of Russia did not take kindly to this. They said that this was stupid and bullshit. Donald Trump then responded to those comments, and then the former president responded to Donald Trump saying, not directly saying, but insinuating that Russia has the dead man switch still, that they still have a backup plan for if all their commands and all their top leaders are taken out, that all their nukes would fly over the world, specifically to take out the United States and its allies. That is why Donald Trump is doing this. Normally, I would be speaking out against things like this, but I actually do think Donald Trump placing these nuclear warheads there, not escalating it further, but just placing them there and announcing it is the correct move. We move our nuclear submarines all around the world. We just rarely announce it. So our submarines might have even been in those areas before and we just didn't announce it. I think announcing it publicly is a strong way to let Russia know that those comments are not acceptable. I've spoken about our relationship with Russia a lot recently. I actually think Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin seem to have a lot of diplomacy, and they're able to communicate very well for, someone they call a dictator. And I'm not saying he's not a dictator, he is. But if we're able to communicate well with him, if we're able to have some diplomacy with him, I think that's something that's positive for our country and positive for the United States. I want Donald Trump to keep communicating with Vladimir Putin about these things. I'm sure this is just a larger negotiating tactic as well. I don't think there's any actual chance of a nuclear war right now involving the United States and Russia. I think that's the last thing to be checked off on our bingo card. I think we'll get the Epstein files before we see that happen, and I don't think we're getting the Epstein files anytime soon. I really don't think this is much to worry about. I really think this is just Donald Trump trying to show strength and also probably trying to flood the media a little bit as well. What better way to distract from the Epstein and the Ghislaine stuff that happened? We'll talk about Ghislaine later and her prison transfer. But what better way to distract from that than to place 2 nuclear warheads outside Russia and to announce it publicly on Truth Social? There's almost no better way to distract the media. He's tried with the Obama hoax. He has tried with the $600 checks. He has tried with countless different initiatives in the media to try and persuade us to talk about different things, to forget about Epstein, to move past the Epstein hoax, and to just accept that it's a Democratic hoax in his eyes. But we know it's not. We know that Donald Trump, Peter Thiel, all of the corrupt people within the government are burying the Epstein files. That's the reason we're not seeing them. We won't forget about that. It doesn't mean we won't talk about this other stuff, but I don't think it is anything to worry about or as big of headlines as they're making it seem. I think it is just a major distraction from the bigger picture, which is the fact that the United States right now was never going to release the Epstein files. They paraded it around. Maybe Donald Trump didn't even know that he wouldn't be able to release them. But Alex Jones inside sources within the White House say that it was Mossad and CIA controlled the entire time, that it was never going to be able to be released, and that all the attempts to try and release them were either a sham or were unknown, that they would not be able to release them. I really do think there is a chance Donald Trump is guilty in this. I've spoken about that constantly. There would be almost no other reason for the cover-up we're seeing. If Donald Trump came out and said that, I can't find the Epstein files, the deep state is doing what they can to try and hide it from us, that would be one thing, and you can get people behind that. But to completely bury it and then to speak out against your followers and supporters, I've talked about this before, but people went to jail for Donald Trump. January 6th, no matter what people think, people put their lives on the line and went to jail for what they thought Trump wanted. And whether it's what Trump wanted or not, they did that for Donald Trump. People lost their jobs for tweeting out pro-MAGA things. People lost their access to social media and free speech. People even lost relationships with their family because they were too Republican for their family members. And for Donald Trump to come out and say that he doesn't want them as their supporters, they shouldn't support any positive things he's doing, if they're going to continue to speak about the Epstein things, was just a huge slap in the face to all those people and to everyone who put everything on the line for Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been like Michael Corleone. He rose to power and fame, and he rose to this figure that was like untouchable. He was so well calculated and untouchable at a point. And then, like Godfather 2, all good things have to come to an end, and that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing the fall of Donald Trump. We're seeing him fall to lobbyists. We're seeing him fall to the pressure. The inside sources that Alex Jones has within the White House who said that the Epstein files would never be released are the same people who are reporting to Alex Jones now that Donald Trump literally cannot handle this pressure, that the pressure of this Epstein thing is getting to him over everything else, that nothing else has amounted to the amount of pressure he's feeling with this. Not the 34 felonies, the thought of going to jail, not them trying to bankrupt him, but this Epstein thing. And there could be a few reasons for that. It could be because Donald Trump is guilty. Maybe Donald Trump was on the island and did have sex with kids. Alex Jones is a big believer that didn't happen. He had a debate with Nick Fuentes about this. It was an excellent debate. I urge everyone to go watch it if you didn't. It was more of a discussion, less of a debate. It seems like Alex Jones, while he does think Trump might be not guilty in the having sex with kids part, but he's guilty in the burial of it, he seemed to accept some of Nick Fuentes' theories, and that Donald Trump could be guilty, and that even if it wasn't Donald Trump, that there are very connected people within Trump's cabinet, Trump's party, who are trying to bury this information, and that his donors like Miriam Adelson definitely don't want this information coming out, because it would look really bad for Israel Mossad if the information got out that our biggest allies are, our ally that we fund to the tune of $3.8 billion a year was manipulating our politicians with pedophilia to try and blackmail them. That would look really bad on our biggest allies. It would almost incite a war in the minds of a lot of Americans. Probably not within the government, and probably not a literal war. But if you're a red-blooded American and you hear that you've been paying taxes every year and your taxes have been going to Israel, and then Israel was running pedophile operations and they tried to blackmail our politicians and our politicians went with it and tried to bury it, that would piss you off, and it should piss you off enough to want to go to war. I'm really upset about the Epstein stuff. I'm upset about the burial, and I'm upset that, I just think this whole Russia thing is a stunt. I thought the Russia-Obama thing was a hoax. The fact that they're saying now Obama has immunity, he can't be arrested. They even released stuff about Hillary. But Hillary's not going to get... Unless you're going to arrest these people, I don't give a shit. Stop putting out more information about, Hillary and Obama being guilty of the Russian hoax in 2016 if you're not going to do shit about it. I don't care. I genuinely do not give a shit if you say someone's guilty if you're not going to arrest them. Because what does it mean? Are we just supposed to publicly shame them? They still have support. They still have donors. They still have advertisers. They still have all these things. Donald Trump hasn't ruined any credibility in the Democrats' eyes of Obama, of Hillary. In the Republicans' eyes, we've already hated these people. We didn't love Obama. We didn't love Hillary. So he hasn't done anything. He hasn't accomplished anything. All he's done is made them more relevant again. Obama and Hillary are out of the media, but Donald Trump's putting them back in the media. They weren't talked about for a long time, and now they're being talked about every single day, and nothing's going to get done about it. They won't get arrested. They won't get fined. They won't get put on probation. They won't get house arrest. They won't get mug shots. They won't get fingerprinted or DNA, or they won't get any of it. Nothing is going to happen. I would love more than anything to see Hillary and Obama perp walk, to see Bill Clinton dragged down to the paddy wagon. But no, we're not going to see any of these things. It's just not an accomplishable task because they all have immunity. That's the thing that Donald Trump's, he very quietly announced, and some people in the media quietly announced it because they don't want to talk about it. They just want to try and push this Epstein thing out of the, forefront of the media. It's just ridiculous. It's all delusional. It's all actually pretty scary. It's scary that there's Americans who go with it. It's scary that, I know a lot of people in this political world, not a ton, but a lot of them on the right side right now, from my perspective, a lot of them are kind of like me. They're just very pissed off at Trump. They don't understand why he bombed Iran. They don't understand why he took money from Miriam Adelson. They don't understand why he's burying the Epstein stuff. They have theories like me, but they don't understand how he went against everything. And then there are also people who think that Trump is playing 5D fucking chess right now. If you think that Trump is playing 5D chess with this Epstein thing, if you think that this is all just one big game that Donald Trump is playing and it's eventually going to work out for him, no offense, but go take a nap, go for a fucking walk, or just shut up. You know nothing. Donald Trump is not playing 5D chess right now. The smart move for Donald Trump would be to say that. If Donald Trump came out right now and said he was trying to play 5D chess and played this whole thing off, it wouldn't be true, but that would be the smart PR move for him. But he's not even thinking that way. He's just so overwhelmed by this and trying to get out of it and trying to shove anything else in the media to bury it. But it's not working because people like me, true Americans, are really pissed off about this. We won't let kids get molested and let politicians get away with it, or billionaires get away with it. We let politicians get away with literally anything they want. We're not going to allow them to get away with having sex with kids. And Tucker Carlson said this on his show today, and it's a pretty interesting thing, but you can justify most, if not almost, any crime. You can't make great moral arguments, or I'm not okay with it, but you can make arguments of people will steal because they need food, and then obviously that doesn't apply everywhere. People steal for dumb reasons. People steal TVs and they steal sofas and they steal dumb shit that they don't always steal food. But every crime, or for the most part, most crimes you could justify in some way. Like I said, you could, you could even picture instances of getting so mad that you want to kill someone, even if you would never do it. Everyone can picture the idea or the feeling of it, or like the idea, the feeling of like, oh, I'm broke, I need to, grab this apple real quick, or these things that they're not okay, and I wouldn't be okay with them. But the one crime you can really come up with no justification for is molestation, especially molestation of a child. And the fact that our politicians will like for months and months and months parade around these binders, parade around the idea that they're going to release the Epstein information, that this is a big conspiracy that's happening within the deep state, within the country, within intel agencies, and then for them to just bury the entire thing. It's very sad. It's very un-American. It is, I don't know, it's really heartbreaking in America, and it's just one of those things, like, how are they justifying it? It just goes back to the Tucker Carlson of, like, you could find ways to justify certain things, but how in the world is anyone justifying this? How is, like Randy Fine won't stop tweeting pictures of dead babies and celebrating it, but he won't talk about the kids who got molested. We have people within our government who are shilling for other foreign lobbies and shilling for countries and shilling for things that really shouldn't be, that aren't American, and we don't have people within our government who are pushing for the Epstein stuff, and the people who are trying to be silenced. We'll talk about Kentucky MAGA here now. I mean, this is one of the biggest things. Kentucky MAGA is one of the ways they're trying to silence people who want information about Epstein, who want information about what is happening with the corruption within our government, who wants to stop sending our money to Israel, stop sending our money overseas. Kentucky MAGA is an Israeli super PAC. It is called Kentucky MAGA, so so it doesn't look like an Israeli super PAC, but it is one. It's run by Miriam Adelson. They are funding millions and millions and millions of dollars into advertisements to try and shut Thomas Massie up. They're trying to ruin his credibility. They're trying to wreck him in the primaries. They are trying to do what they can to get him out of politics because he doesn't want to vote for everything Donald Trump's okay with. He didn't want to accept it when Donald Trump buried the Epstein files. He doesn't want to send the money overseas to Israel like Donald Trump wants to do with this new war coalition he has with Netanyahu. He doesn't want to keep pushing all these America Last agendas. He wants a true America First agenda. I've talked about Thomas Massie very positively before. We need more America First politicians, more people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, and people who are going to stand up for the American taxpayer, people who are going to stand up for you and me, and people who are going to try and put our tax dollars to good use, people who don't want our tax dollars wasted. Our tax dollars are wasted every day. They've been wasted for years. They're wasted on salaries. They're wasted on BS. They're wasted in, back-end money laundering and back-end deals. They're sent overseas to Israel. And I hear the argument a lot whenever people talk about, like, the money sent to Israel. They're like, oh, but they're investing the money back in the, like, we send them $3.8 billion a year. The vast majority of that money is then spent at, like, companies like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and these big weapons manufacturers. So essentially, we're paying our taxes to funnel money back into billionaires' pockets through a back-end deal our government made with Israel. And Israel is profiting off it as well, along with the United States government and these billionaires. How is that okay? How is that American? How is that anything that any of us should be voting for or pushing for? It's not. We don't want that. We don't want our money being wasted. We don't want, super PACs like Kentucky MAGA to even be able to exist. Lobbying should be made illegal. It's the death of politics and the death of America. Lobbying is the reason that our government right now has interest in Israel over America. I can guarantee you, if all the, APEC and Israeli super PACs and all these, like Kentucky MAGA, the ones that hide as, Kentucky MAGA, does anything about that sound Jewish or Israeli? Does a single Kentucky MAGA, are you fucking kidding me? They're just hiding it. It is an Israeli super PAC run by Miriam Adelson called Kentucky fucking MAGA. How is that not illegal? How is that allowed? How are they allowed to how is Israel essentially allowed to rebrand as Kentucky MAGA to fund money to get Thomas Massie out of politics because he doesn't want to give money to Israel, even though he's an American politician? His duty is to the American people and to American politics, not to Israel politics. But Israel is funding him to get out of American politics because he doesn't want to give give money to Israel. Does that not seem like Israel has too much control of our government? Israel has an overwhelming amount of control of our politicians. They have they have like a direct ear to the president, direct ear to the VP. They have direct ear to everyone in Trump's cabinet, and a direct ear to 70% of Congress, because 70% of them take money from AIPAC specifically. And there's also other Israeli donors, and there's other ones that we probably don't even know of because they call themselves shit like Kentucky MAGA. I bet there's like an Alabama MAGA and a fucking like Florida MAGA and all these other things that are probably Israeli ones as well. We need to do more research into these lobbyists, more research into who they are, who the lobbyists are run by, the shell companies behind them. We need to look at how this is all being done, and we need to make laws to stop it, because if we don't stop lobbying, we will just end up as America for Israel, not the United States of America. Like, I don't want my entire country to just be supporting another country. That's not our job. I don't want to support them at all. Right now, they're committing a genocide. I actually don't like Israel. I don't like what they're doing. I think their government's corrupt. I think their military's corrupt. The same way I think Canada's and Mexico's and places in Africa and China and some are Russia and definitely Ukraine. I think all these places are corrupt. I don't want my money funding them. I don't want more money going to the people in Gaza because Israel is starving them. I don't want more money going to Israel to starve the people in Gaza. I don't want more money going to Ukraine to defend against Russia in a war they'll never realistically win, when we'll never even allow Ukraine to join NATO, because they shouldn't, because that was one of the deals we made with Russia in the beginning of the formation of fucking NATO. It was one of the only deals we made with them. I'm sick of what's going on in politics. I'm very upset by it. I'm upset with Trump. I remember saying at a point on my show that I felt like I had a president and an administration who gave a shit about me. And finding out that wasn't true really sucked. I mean, it really, really was a kick in the balls, a swift kick in the nuts. Finding out that they don't give a shit about me at all, and not even like me personally. I felt like my generation. Like, the Republicans ran so hard on the next generation of Republicans, Gen X and below, only to just not give a shit about us at all, only to, make the housing prices worse, not do anything to fix that, send more of our money overseas, raise the debt ceiling again, bomb Iran, give all this unlimited power within our government to Israel to lobby our politicians and to convince them to do Israel's bidding for them. Like, how is America getting better? How is this the golden age of America? And for a couple months, it kind of looked like it. Like, we had hundreds of executive orders day one. We had ICE posting the deportation numbers immediately, but ICE hasn't posted deportation numbers in months. You want to know why? Because they suck, because they're embarrassing, because the deportation numbers are lower than Biden's probably right now. They're not great. We're good about shutting the border down. We're good about getting funding to ICE, but when it actually comes to deportations, we're not doing that good. We've deported like 150,000 criminal illegals, which is good, but we need to deport million. Like, the estimates right now of the illegals in our country, the high estimates are 50. The realistic estimates are like 25 to 30 million illegals in America right now, all time. We need to do what we can to get these people out. They do not assimilate to American culture. They are not in our system. We don't have a vetting process for the majority of these people. We need to root them out of our system. We need to deport them, and our government's not doing that. And they stopped posting the deportation numbers. They were posting them every single day in the beginning. Every single day, and then they stopped doing it because of how embarrassing it got with how low the numbers got. I remember I used to report the numbers almost every day on the show when they were posting them, and then they stopped out of nowhere, and I thought about why for a while, and then over time it became apparent. It was just we were not able to deport enough people. We're not able to do it. We're having way too much pushback by the Democrats. We're also it's not just pushback by the Democrats, it's the Republicans too. This year alone, we've had hundreds of thousands of American-born citizens fired from their jobs, and we've imported H-1B visas. I know that's not illegal aliens, but it's still just importing immigrants to take Americans' jobs. It's no fucking better. It's the exact same to me. I actually look at it as almost the exact same. The only difference is the vetting process. But still, fuck that. Just because they're vetted doesn't mean they're allowed in this country. America's not a land for just everyone to come in and like we have 40,000 different countries in one country. No, that's not what America is. America is a country where a culture of people who assimilate together. We have a shared culture, a shared identity, and if we lose that, then we're nothing. If America just becomes 40 different nations, then what is America? It's not America anymore. It's just some shit third world country. I don't want that. I am so far opposed to that, and that's the direction we're going in. And the Republicans aren't helping. The Democrats definitely aren't. They want to make it worse. We need to get back to America First policies. We need people like Thomas Massie to stay in government, not get rooted out by Israeli lobbyists like Kentucky MAGA. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I want to talk more about lobbying, but I also do want to talk about the interviews that have happened recently with Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Nick Fuentes. And I want to talk about the Twitter beef between Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens as well. It was a crazy, crazy day on X yesterday. Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes were going at it with each other. And then Candace Owens did an interview with Tucker Carlson today, and they did a little bit of a hit job on Nick Fuentes in the interview. We'll watch some clips of that. We'll look at all the tweets today too. I want to talk about the Candace-Nick beef real quick because I talked about it on my show when it happened, and I just want to briefly touch on it again because we're going to go into it. But after the Iran war, Candace Owens hit up Nick Fuentes and asked him to do an interview. He asked if it would be friendly, and she said that she doesn't, she doesn't do hit pieces. Like, she doesn't mess around and, she doesn't have someone fly out to then just fuck with them. But that's exactly what happened. She flew him out, and then the first thing she says is, you talk a lot of shit. And then, starts playing videos of him talking shit. And then the whole time she's kind of grilling him and she's tone policing him, kind of acting like his mom in parts of it. It was a little weird. And she didn't really answer all of Nick's questions either. And I don't know, it just was not a great interview. Kind of seemed like a hit piece. Nick Fuentes went back on his show. He ripped Candace apart for this. And then on social media, they had this beef. And I'm going to pull it up right here. I'll actually show you guys. And I'm going to read the tweets from the beef too. We'll go through what they said. And then I want to go into the Tucker Carlson interview. But Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, they didn't seem to have too much of a relationship before this interview. They obviously kind of knew who each other were because they're both extremely polarizing names in the political communities. But to go right into it, Nick Fuentes tweeted out, "Why is Candace Owens trying to rehabilitate Harvey Weinstein? She flamed out of Daily Wire for taking a stand against Israel, but now she uses her platform to defend a Democratic pervert with ties to Israeli intelligence. So weird." And then she responds, "I don't know, didn't you say I was likely funded by Russia through the Tate brothers? Can't lie, it was Def Putin that made me tell you that marriage was aspirational. Vladimir hits me up on WhatsApp and asks me to do the most random things, LOL." He goes, "So your answer is, I don't know. I'm not the only one wondering why you would use your platform to rehabilitate a Mossad-connected Democratic pervert." It is true. She just did not answer. She goes, "I don't know." That's not an answer. It is weird that she's trying to bring back Harvey Weinstein. I understand maybe if, her perspective could be that, the Me Too movement was a sham. A lot of people went down for it who shouldn't have gone down, and maybe she thinks Harvey Weinstein is one of those. But there is overwhelming evidence to show Harvey Weinstein is just not a good person in general and did do a lot of illegal things. So I do question the same motives for Candace as well. And then, she says, "I don't know." And he goes, and then he responds, "So your answer is, I don't know." She goes, "But just last week, I was tagged in a clip of you claiming it was Russia that was backing me. Do you think it's Mossad now? The Israelis say it's Qatar that's funding me, so at this point, I really don't even know. Putin all in my DMs yo, tell Nikki Fuentes about marriage and make sure Harvey Weinstein gets rehabilitated. Also, is Bridget Macron even a woman? And exchange unlimited rubles." It's just Candace trying to joke. Also an option, it's either Mossad, Russia, Qatar, just old-fashioned stupidity. Either way, Nick is about to expose it. Again, she's just trying to be a smartass here, but still, she's just not answering. Why would it be so hard to say, I think Harvey's innocent, or I think Harvey is this, or I just want to tell his story, or I'm a journalist and I don't have any opinion on it. Why is it so hard for Candace to answer this? And then he goes, "Everyone is wondering why you crashed out on your boss Ben Shapiro just so you could rehabilitate a degenerate Zionist like Harvey Weinstein, especially after your little Frankus stunt last year. It's all just a bit suspicious. Hopefully you can reassure us. Thank you. Again, it's funny because Nick stays on track. Nick is, I think this is what, his third tweet in from the original, fourth tweet in, including the original tweet. And every single tweet has been the same thing. Like, why aren't you answering about Harvey Weinstein? He didn't mention Russia in this. He's not mentioning bullshit conspiracies. He's not even picking at other stuff with Candace besides that she crashed out on Ben Shapiro. And that was a whole own funny argument. But I do like that he's staying on track here. She's just not answering. And then, like, this was one of the most looked at things on X yesterday. And then she goes, I think the best way to handle this is for you to post a clip screaming, I'm a real man again, and refer to me as a bitch a few more times to really prove it, because if a man isn't calling a woman a stupid bitch, is he even really a man? I think not. This is the way forward. And I don't know, I thought this was kind of funny because she's just taking him way too seriously and literally. He is a political, he's a political streamer. He live streams every day for a few hours. He has one of the best shows in politics, and he's very open with his language, very colorful with it, and he is also basically a comedian. Like, he tells jokes for half the show, or if it's not, a lot of the shows are very serious, but he likes to sprinkle in humor, and he likes to be funny, and he over-exaggerates, and he makes his personality part of the brand. And he went on like a long tangent calling Candace a stupid bitch, and it was actually very funny. It was in a comedic tone. It was in a comedic sense, and maybe there was a little bit of underlying truth about how he felt, especially after the hit piece and him being flown out to Tennessee to essentially just get called an anti-Semite and a racist. But yeah, I think I don't know. So far, Nick is destroying in this battle right now, and I think, like Candace saying, like, calling me a stupid bitch is just showing, like, again, you're not answering the Harvey Weinstein thing at all. You have refused to answer it, and now you're just going to, like, almost personal attacks of, like, things he said in his show. It's just dumb. And it goes on, it goes, why don't you put the phone down, go make me a sandwich, and then once you've calmed down and collected yourself, explain why you're trying to help Harvey Weinstein and convince us that it's the Frankists and not the Jews. Again, this is where he immediately does what I was just talking about. He realizes that Candace is arguing in bad faith, so he does what he does, and he brings his humor in. He obviously is not like, he lives in Chicago, Candace lives in Tennessee. He's obviously not expecting Candace to go put her fucking phone down and make him a sandwich. And he's saying it, again, most people would say he's saying it to be demeaning because she's a woman. He's saying it because Candace's book title is Go Make Him a Sandwich. That's Candace's brand. Candace's brand is to go make her husband a sandwich. Candace married her husband after 2 weeks of knowing him and never meeting him and marrying him on a Zoom call. But she, plays herself as this traditional woman when she essentially had this arranged marriage to a British lord who was like 100-something millionaire. When he's saying this, it's not really like a direct, like, fuck you, you're a woman, go make me a sandwich. He's not an absolute douchebag. It's him making a joke at her book. It's him making a joke at her personality and how she portrays herself, and then how she comes at him. He's basically saying, like, you try and portray yourself as this lady, but you're defending a pedophile, but you're defending a guy who raped women, but you're coming at me and not acting like a lady. So again, it's just him using his humor to push his point, and then he still stays on topic. Even when he's saying, shut up and go make me a sandwich, he's still saying, and then once you've calmed down and collected yourself, explain why you're trying to help Harvey Weinstein. So again, Nick is still destroying, like, he's destroying this. I'm literally shaking right now. How will I ever survive being told to go make you a sandwich? You really are setting an example for how real men everywhere. Or you really are setting an example for real men everywhere. I'm trying my best to calm down and collect myself, but I'm a woman, so give me time. This is Candace trying to make jokes back, but again, like, that joke just doesn't, like, self-deprecating to the fact that you're a woman when he makes a joke and you're just still refusing to answer that. Like, at this point, you're just crashing out, Candace. You're not answering the Harvey Weinstein. You're just responding for... Well, is she trying to get Twitter clout? Is she trying to get more followers? Or more like, is she trying to get money from the paid program? Well, like, again, she's just not responding. She could have, if she didn't want to argue and she wanted to just shut this conversation down, she could have just responded with, I'm defending him because of this. I'm doing it because of this. But no, she is now self-deprecating to her being a woman because of the joke that Nick Fuentes make about her book. And again, it goes on. Take all the time you need. Turkey, provolone, lettuce, and tomato, please. Easy mayo. Thanks, honey. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, everyone. Can see that you are totally not a raging bitch. The thing is, I'm just not myself when I'm hungry. That's when I need a sandwich. This is the first tweet in the entire thread that he did not mention Harvey Weinstein. So this entire time, it was about Harvey Weinstein. He kept it about Harvey Weinstein. This is the first time he takes it away from that. And again, I don't blame him. I still, at this point, I give Nick the full benefit of the doubt, and he should honestly have the full reign to go and say shit like this in response to Candace Owens absolutely ignoring the initial question about Harvey Weinstein and just making it personal. When he made it personal, she allowed Nick Fuentes to make it personal. And when Nick Fuentes makes things personal, he makes them humorous. And that's what he's doing now. Again, it's actually hilarious to say to Candace Owens, turkey, provolone, lettuce, tomato, please, easy mayo, thanks, honey. If you don't think that's funny, get a fucking sense of humor, because that is actually hilarious. And then saying the thing is, I'm just not myself when I'm hungry, that's why I need a sandwich. Like, again, that's hilarious as well. He is using his humor to show how ridiculous Candace is getting right now. And then Candace goes, is that the joke from the Snickers commercial? So good. Keep going, Nick. Total annihilation. Cope ratio, bro. No way I can survive this. Again, didn't answer the Harvey thing. Is just pushing to argue, pushing this forward. True, you seem totally unbothered right now. Look, I'm not trying to annihilate you. I just want to know why you keep pushing Harvey Weinstein and the Frankus on us, but you are being weirdly defensive. And it's just, she's not answering. She just refuses to answer. And you could even see, I scrolled up a little in this. She goes, sometimes annihilation is the only way, Thanos. Do what must be done. Like, are you kidding? She refuses to answer. Still, that's like the 7th time he's asked it, and she just does not answer. He goes, are you okay? And then that's it from right there of that. And then I do want to show some... Oh, wait, actually, this was after that, too. She goes, TBH, the walls are closing in on me. You're too close to discovering how me, the Tate brothers, Israel, and Russia are working together to bring down France. And it's from this 5-minute clip from the Bradley Martin podcast. Let me just click on it for a second. We're not going to listen to the full thing, but...
I don't hate Candace Owens. I don't have a big problem with her. And I think she's doing good work. She's bringing a lot of people around to the truth. And she throws in a lot of nonsense about Brigitte Macron and other stuff I don't agree with. I think that's nonsense. But
that is, she's saying that this dude is married to his dad?
Yeah. that the French president's wife is not just a transgender man, but is also his father. He's married to his, and I'm like, you lost me. I mean, that's a little out there. But, so I don't hate her.
It's so funny how that's the line for you, though.
That's crazy.
I will say this. We'll talk about this a little bit today, but I think you could definitely get me behind the idea of the transgender part that Candace Owens says that Brigitte Macron is transgender, but getting me behind the idea that Brigitte Macron is actually Emmanuel Macron's dad is fucking insane. That, again, I do disagree with Nick here. And it's like, that's where Candace, I think, lost a lot of people.
Dude, you're funny to me. That's a lie. No. That.
I mean, come on. He's married to... Maybe she's transgender, but she's his dad?
There you go.
It's insane.
I mean...
It's a little insane.
That's a little out there. And I have my reasons why I think she's pushing that. I don't know how sincere that is, but...
What do you think that is? Why do you think she's pushing that?
Honestly, this is going to sound maybe equally crazy, but I think it's like Russian propaganda because
this is what they're talking about.
France is Russia's mortal enemy right now for a variety of reasons. Because France is pushing the Ukraine war harder than anybody, and because
So that's what she's talking about there when she says the Russian thing in the messages. But then he responds, he goes, you're right, that is a little far-fetched. By the way, can I get a sample of your body, hair, and blood just to verify that you aren't secretly your husband's father? Again, it's just... It's hard to kill the king. He's very funny. He is very, no matter what you think of Nick Fuentes, he is very, 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 very funny. He is so hilarious on social media, in his shows. I know it's so crazy how people worldwide care so much about adult perverts that pursue underage kids. Hopefully the Macrons can bring you in on the offense. Who actually cares if adults assault minors, right, Nick? If the people who surround and fund our world leaders actually admit to the sexually assaulting their children, as is the case here, then it's really none of our business. Quite a flex, Nick. So then why are you trying so hard to rehabilitate the convicted rapist, Harvey? It's so funny. He just keeps coming back to it and she just doesn't answer. So why are you trying so hard to rehabilitate the convicted rapist, Harvey Weinstein? Are you aware that Weinstein also advocated on behalf of Roman Polanski, who raped a 13-year-old girl? That's what I was referring to earlier when I was saying that even if, you want to make the Me Too argument, he still did some really weird shit. Or are you just completely full of shit? And I think that was where it ended. She just didn't answer there. Again, you can't dodge the Harvey Weinstein question 10 times in a row and get away with it. She got away with it 9 times, and she just didn't answer the 10th. She knew if she kept pushing forward, she would have been called the Dodger. I don't know how she wasn't. It's ridiculous to dodge that question that many times, to make personal attacks, to try and make jokes back to Nick when he's making jokes to you, but your jokes are dumb. They're self-deprecating while he's actually joking about you because you're doing things that are ridiculous. You are claiming someone is, married to their father. You can make the transgender argument, but the father argument is beyond ridiculous. You are trying to bury someone and you did a hit piece on them and you put it behind a paywall so you can make $50,000. And then you talk endless shit about the person when realistically they are pushing the same agenda as you, but they're pushing it with more facts and more evidence. And they actually have a backbone and they're not flipping on everybody in the media. Nick Fuentes is someone who, yes, he has beef with people, but he also does what he can to limit that. Anytime someone wants to shut the beef down, just, be friends or whatever it is, acquaintances, he does that. He tries to make as many connections as possible and push himself into the mainstream as possible because he's one of the most canceled men on the planet. We'll show these little clips here. These are from the Tucker Carlson interview today. Tucker Carlson interviewed Candace Owens. They talked about Nick Fuentes a lot. And this is one part I want to show, actually. We'll talk about this before. Tucker Carlson claimed that he knew who Nick Fuentes was because, I'll let you guys hear the story here, but I just want to say it before he says it. I think it's all bullshit. The fact that Tucker Carlson is going to claim that he didn't know his dad was fucking CIA and Nick Fuentes knew before him, when Tucker Carlson was literally in Nicaragua with the Contras and he was supporting the Iraq War and he was over there and everything about him screams CIA and CIA connections. But let's play this video for you guys real quick.
I probably shouldn't even say this, but the only reason I know who he is because someone sent me a video a few years ago of him attacking me, and I was like, so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, first of all, this kid's really talented, legit, and I can assess that just having done the job for so long, so I was like, wow, lots of talent, native talent, and he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's from the CIA or whatever, and I'm like, well, that's, no, untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn, actually, was involved in that world. I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but that's just a fact. Right. This was in March of this year. I'm like, well, how the hell would this child from Chicago, my dad was 84 when he passed. Who's this guy know who my dad is? And he's in intelligence. How would he know that?
Wait, so that was his critique of you because I didn't see it?
Someone just sent me this video and it was like, you can't believe anything Carlson says because his father was in the CIA and he's a CIA, working on behalf of the CIA. Well, I think it's pretty obvious, and I actually feel emotional in my anger towards CIA. And I think that comes out in the air quite regularly.
Right.
Sounds like something someone in the CIA would say.
And so the idea that I'm working for the CIA is deranged.
Well, if it helps, he said I'm funded by Russia now. Since the interview, he then did a thing and said I was funded by Russia.
But you would be a lot more likely to take Russian money than I would be to work for the CIA. You would never take Russian money. You're not Russian, but I really hate the CIA. And that's very offensive to me. So why would you?
It's personal for you.
Well,
his dad was CIA, and he everything about him screams CIA, but it's offensive to him. Shut the fuck up, dude. Come on.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And anyway, like, who is this kid exactly? And maybe it's just an accident that the guy exclusively goes after people who are in the same, roughly the same. And then he gets up there and he's like, making Holocaust jokes. And it's like, is it possible that this is like David Duke? And David Duke, every time I had a new show, David Duke would endorse my show. I don't know, who the hell is David Duke? Well, David Duke is obviously part of a campaign to discredit people on the right. Obviously.
That's what Tucker's trying to do to Nick right now. He's trying to discredit Nick right now by saying he's going to discredit the Republican Party. It's ridiculous.
And I think it's very obvious that Nick Fuentes is exactly the same. Doesn't mean everything he says is false. It doesn't mean he's not talented. He's enormously talented. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. I'm attacking him personally. But he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices. That's obvious to me. I've been around a long
It's not.
time. I know when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like, I truly, like, we almost said... Like,
You weren't. I watched the interview.
He was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. That's how good of an experience I had.
It's clearly
and then it was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from, like, a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he, like, just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's
that could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on.
Yeah, or it's the...
Yeah, it's like
what you're saying.
The angry gay kid. He says that at another point, too. It's like... It's just because he's a man of God and he's a virgin and wants to stay a virgin till marriage doesn't make him a gay kid. That's a crazy statement to make, especially when Tucker and Candace are both Christians or Catholics themselves. It's crazy for them to say that. And then for them to just completely discredit what Nick has been through and what Nick has done for the right movement and for America is pretty crazy. Nick is one of the most canceled people in America. He was canceled extremely early at 19 for saying all the same things that Tucker and Candace and these people are saying now, that they're now allowed to say, but Nick was saying them years ago when you were not allowed to say these things and you'd lose your social media accounts and you'd be put on no-fly list. The government took $500,000 from his bank account and never gave it back. People tried to kill this guy, and they just discredit it all and like call him this little gay kid in a basement. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to go on to, there was some more clips with it I think I had. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. I'm going to play this, interview real quick. This is part of the interview. It's when Candace talks about when having Nick on.
Speaking of theater, I just hesitate even to ask this, but because it just opens up all this stuff I don't want to deal with. But you just interviewed Nick Fuentes.
I did.
Or had a conversation with him. What did you think of that? What do you think of him?
I mean, I can tell you my experience was entirely fraudulent with him. I never interview people as a gotcha interview. It's always just that he was making the rounds. He's been around for a while and
First thing she said in the interview was, "You talk a lot of shit." So I think it was the gotcha interview.
Of his story, when I learned it, because he was banned forever, so I didn't actually know what the backstory was with Nick Fuentes, but then I learned it when he was allowed back on X, and Jeremy Boring, who was then the CEO of Daily Wire, did this X live with him. And
Jeremy Boring did an event with Nick Fuentes?
It was weird. Everything was weird about what happened, but it happened. And Nick told his story, and I was listening in, and said essentially that he was canceled because he started asking questions about Israel. He was 18 years old, and he alleged that it was, very much the fault of the Daily Wire or whatever he said. And I found it very interesting. And I was like, oh, I actually didn't know this was the backstory. Maybe this really is a person who had, just ahead of everybody else, was questioning Israel and had like a bad hand given to him. So I had him on the show, welcomed him into my home, and he was very nice. We told him we're gonna cut a controversial trailer. We're gonna show you like these clips of you talking trash about me, and you can talk about.
The trailer was very controversial. Like, it literally made him look like a racist. Like, the trailer was like, "Are you a racist?" And then it would cut to make it sound like he was a racist. Like, it was crazy how she cut the trailer. The whole thing was a hit job from start to finish. And then this is a PR campaign to bury that hit job and make it seem like she was the victim.
Whatever you want, for as long as you want, ask any questions you want to ask. It went great. He left. He said, thanks. We can now be friends. And I am not kidding. We published this 11 days later, and he it was, I don't even know how to, he just starts screaming, calling me an effing bitch who set him up. We didn't edit a single thing. Those 11 days, like 2 weeks before we even published the interview, we told him if there's anything that he wanted us to insert. Like, nobody does that if you go on their show.
Yes.
And I don't know what, I genuinely don't know what you're...
Yes. Yes. I was just seeing if I could do that little bitch-ass impression. Yes. What is that? What the hell is that? This, like, soft, like, yes. Like, who the fuck? Are you a little kid? Yes. Like, what is that?
And then me at the very end asking him about, like, or talking to him about family. And it was just the rage that was coming out of him was just weird. And I don't know.
He was making jokes. Relax, honey.
You had no idea 180, you had access to me. You could have said anything after. Even if he had said in good faith, I thought I sounded a little weird here, could you cut it out? We probably would have cut it out because I just don't want people to ever not.
The problem wasn't editing. It was the questions and the topics. It was the day after the Iran-Israel war. No one is more knowledgeable about the Iran-Israel conflict than Nick Fuentes because he literally called it to a T years out. 2 years ago, he called that exact scenario, and he's been studying that region and knows everything about that region. He thought he was going to be talking about that, and when he shows up and the first question is, you talk a lot of shit, and then the next questions are about, like, marriage and race and, like, nothing that has to do with Israel and Iran. It's obviously kind of a gotcha interview, especially when it comes out how it did, and the entire thing is a hit piece on Nick Fuentes. And then she goes on this PR fucking media tour on X and on Tucker Carlson show, shitting all over him, calling him a gay little kid in a basement. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
I have a good experience with
I
my
understand
show. You know what I'm
And also,
saying?
you want people. I'll speak for myself. When I invite someone on, especially just to hear their views, I want them to be able to express what they actually think.
Right. Exactly.
And you decide what you think, and you decide how to express it. I mean, that's like a basic human right, kind of.
Yeah.
And so I'm not here to trip you up into saying something you don't mean. I want to hear what you do mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
and he told his story, he did all of that, and apparently then, and I don't know if it was driven by insecurity, he didn't know how his followers would take the interview, but he just did a complete 180, lied to his audience, pretended that he was surprised it was behind a paywall. We spoke about him and how we were going to release it. He said, great. I mean, it's a total 180 flip. So I can now say that I didn't listen to other people say that Nick was a bad person. I didn't care about what happened when he was 18, 19, 20, 21, 26.
Again, it's just her lying. She said she was putting it behind her paywall on her website because YouTube would ban her if she put it on YouTube, but things like Rumble and X exist where she could have put it for free. So no, she decided to make $40,000 off this kid to then talk shit about him in a hit piece, when realistically she could have released the same thing for free on Rumble and X, and if she actually cared about people seeing it, multiple people reposted it and things like that, and she copyrighted every single one of them. So again, she really only cared about the money. It was extremely obvious. I just don't love how, I don't love how right now Candace Owens is handling this. I think Candace Owens danced around the entire Twitter beef with Nick Fuentes. She went on Tucker Carlson to then shit all over him. Obviously, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens knew Tucker didn't like Nick going into the interview, so it was an easy kind of, mix for that to work. I think that it's very corrupt when they try and bury somebody who's just expressing the right to free speech. Whether you agree or disagree with the person's opinions, trying to bury someone and do hit pieces on someone just because you don't like them is not great. He's someone who's very funny. He's very popular in politics, very popular in the media. If he wasn't as canceled as he was, he would be even more popular than Candace, Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, all these people. He is one of the most well-spoken, high IQ individuals in the media, and he will continue to be successful because of that. People like Candace Owens and Tucker can try and bury him. I generally like Tucker a lot, too, because I like a lot of his interviews. I, do think he has a lot of weird CIA connections, and I like Candace a lot, too. I like that Candace pushes the boundaries on what's socially acceptable. I think that's something we all need to do. But I think the way Candace handled this was completely immature. I think it was very bad. There's just no positive way to talk about how Candace Owens handled this, from dancing around the questions to shitting all over him. It was just very immature. And yeah, I'm not going to say everything he did was perfect. He made a bunch of jokes that aren't going to land with some people, but you also have to think about the fact that he has a set of followers who do understand his set of humor. And if he's calling Candace Owens a bitch and saying, like, make me a sandwich after her book, which is Make Your Husband a Sandwich, they understand those jokes, and maybe not everyone has to get the jokes, but he knows who he's talking to, and he's succeeding at it. So props off to him for handling all this. He's a very young individual around my age, and he's handling this better than most 40 or 50-year-olds would, and that's obvious when you see how Candace is handling it. I want to go on to some of our other topics we do have for the day. We're already pretty deep into the show, actually. Holy shit. But we're going to rip through some of these last topics. I want to talk about CMS Digital Health Ecosystem. So Donald Trump announced something called the CMS Digital Health Ecosystem. It will be run by a lot of big tech companies and the federal government. It will be a centralized database of all our health problems, all our health, needs, issues, medications, health history, etc. I'm going to tell you a few reasons why this is bad. One, you don't want these big companies in control of your data. It's the same thing with social media. We signed up for social media. No one actually fucking read the terms and conditions. I don't care if you said you did or not. Nobody fucking read them. And when we didn't read them, we agreed to give all of our data for free. We didn't realize our data was worth billions, if not trillions of dollars. And that's what this is right here. They want you to give your data for free. Your data is worth billions of fucking dollars. And they're not going to give you billions for it if you hold out. But don't just give them it for free. Don't just give these corporations billions of dollars in profits by giving them access to your health records. That's not America. That is pushing profits over the people. It is not helping people. And we don't need a centralized database that can be hacked, that can be used against us with AI, that can be used against us by our enemies. We don't need the federal government knowing what medications we are or aren't on. We don't need the federal government knowing things about our health. They don't need to know if I broke my arm, if I didn't. They don't need to know anything about my health. I need to know about my health. My family needs to know about my health. My federal government does not. OpenAI, Google, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Oracle, these are the major companies that will be involved with this, along with Palantir and things like that. They should not be involved. I don't want them involved. I don't want my data being tracked. I'm not okay with the Palantir state that we're entering, where they're literally going to be tracking everything you're doing in America. I don't want them tracking my health as well. I don't want them tracking what I eat or when I shit. I don't want them tracking when I sleep. I don't want them tracking my health at all. This is America. I want freedom. I have the Fourth Amendment right for a reason, and I am telling everyone to express it and use it. Do not give your data for free to these companies. They are corrupt corporations run by corrupt people. They are trying to steal your data, use it, make billions if not trillions off your data. They will inevitably sell it. Please do not give your data to these companies. Do not give your health data, no matter how easy they're going to tell you it's going to make your life. If they tell you, oh, but it will be all streamlined into this app or this AI, or, it doesn't matter what doctor you go to in the world, they'll be able to have your data if you do. Fuck that. It will be better off to carry a binder or a backpack filled with your most important files than it will ever be to give your data. You should never give your data to these companies, especially when you think about HIPAA laws as well and how they apply. HIPAA laws don't apply to things like AI and all these online things. If you're talking to AI about your health problems, HIPAA laws don't apply. If you're talking to AI about almost anything, secrecy laws don't apply. Sam Altman just said that a lot of people have been arrested due to things they say to ChatGPT, or that they've admitted to ChatGPT, or that it's been used against them in court. And HIPAA laws, same thing, do not apply when it comes to these online services. So if you still want your HIPAA laws to be active, again, please don't sign up for these online services, because they are just trying to strip your rights away. It is corruption. It is not the direction we need our country going in. We need to be moving in the opposite direction of that. We are going to go on to some of our last topics. We took a long time in the beginning of the show, so we're going to zip through the back end of the show here. Like I said, I wasn't feeling great over the last few days, and I'm feeling better today, but I'm still not feeling 100%, so I'm not going to have like a 2-hour-long show today. We're already an hour in here. But to go on to our next topic, finally, it's hard to be right this many times. It's hard to be an oracle about things. People, they shake me and they say, America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, what's going to happen? Like I'm this magic 8-ball. Bloomberg did that. Bloomberg finally is catching up to me. About a week and a half ago, I reported that over 1,000 FBI agents were tasked with burying over 100,000 documents that they looked through, redacting Donald Trump, major GOP and Democratic donors' names from these documents. Bloomberg is just now reporting this today. Again, catch up, guys. Catch up with the times. If the Bloomberg writers, if you guys need a better source, I'm right here, baby. I'm live every day at 7. I got all the information. I have the inside scoop on this stuff. Just let me know. You could always watch the show. You could always get your information here. You could have reported this a week and a half earlier. But no, I don't know what you guys are doing over there. You guys are living under fucking rocks over at Bloomberg, apparently. Because a week and a half too late, they're now reporting what I've been talking about. Oh, yeah. It's a nice feeling seeing a big company like Bloomberg drop the ball and be behind someone with a smaller, I don't want to call my show a shit show, but it's not that big. I mean, relative to what Bloomberg is, it's nothing. So here we go. We are now one of the, most trusted names in the media. I'm waiting for my Nobel Peace Prize. I'll eventually get it. I want to go on to some of our other topics that do involve Epstein. We do have a lot of topics, not a lot, but we have like 3 topics that involve Epstein today. One of them is that Ghislaine was transferred in the middle of the night. So Ghislaine was transferred out of her prison cell in the middle of the night. She was in a Tallahassee medium security to lower security prison. She was transferred to a Texas low security prison last night, very secretly. The media announced it, but nobody else announced it. Most people think, oh, it's no big deal, just in another low security prison. What's the difference between this prison and the last one? The last prison, you were allowed to record in it. There were cameras in it as well. There were recording devices, things like that. This prison, that is banned. Not only is there no cameras, but there is no recording allowed at all. It is actually banned in the facility. No audio recordings, no video recordings, no security cameras, etc. You see what's happening, people? You see the burial in real time. You see the corruption and the cover-up. Do you see it yet? Has it hit you yet? Has it hit you that they are going to pardon Ghislaine, that she is going to fuck off to whatever country she's from, never to be seen in the media again if they don't kill her first? But Ghislaine is going to testify on the Republicans' behalf, burying the Democrats, burying Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, anyone involved with the corrupt Democrats, exonerating all the GOP donors, exonerating Peter Thiel, exonerating Donald Trump, exonerating Mossad and Israel, burying everything else. And then she's going to fuck off to the end of time after she gets her pardon. When Donald Trump pardons Ghislaine, it will be the day that Donald Trump officially gave up on America. I already think he did in my eyes. It doesn't seem like he's America first. He seems to be pretty Israel first right now. But I'm talking about in the eyes of the MAGA base. Right now you have the MAGA base saying he's playing fucking 5D chess. I think when he pardons Ghislaine, if you have anyone saying that he's playing 5D chess still, no offense, that person needs to be hit 5 times with a chessboard. That person is so fucking stupid. It is just so painfully obvious what's happening, that this is all Mossad and the CIA, and that they're dangling it in front of our eyes, that they're going to allow pedophiles to rape kids on an island and allow our politicians to be involved, and for it all to be hidden because the right people bribed the right people. It's happening in front of our eyes. We're allowing it to happen by not revolting against it. We should be revolting. We need people to just not vote in the midterms or send a message somehow. Another big Epstein storyline coming out is Trump publicly admitted to the media that Virginia Roberts, also known as Virginia Giuffre, the woman who said she wouldn't kill herself time and time again, she got hit by a bus, didn't die, then when she was recovering said, they tried to kill me with the bus, but I'm still not going to kill myself, and then she killed herself a week later. What a fucking surprise. This woman, Donald Trump said to the media, was stolen from Mar-a-Lago, and by that he means that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her out of Mar-a-Lago to be a sex slave for Jeffrey Epstein, essentially. Donald Trump saying this obviously shows that he has some knowledge on the subject. Why else would he be saying it unless he had more knowledge on it? Virginia Giuffre's family is now taking to the media to beg Trump to release the Epstein files, and they are questioning Donald Trump's knowledge on this. They're not questioning that he knew it, they're questioning how much more he knows. They're saying, if you knew this entire time that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine, that they took Virginia out of Mar-a-Lago for sex, how much more do you know? Especially when just a couple years later, you made the shrug, wink, wink, Jeffrey Epstein likes likes younger girls, you know what I mean? It's just really corrupt. It shows that Donald Trump probably knows more about the pedophile activities than he's letting up. Hopefully we get this information, but I don't know if we will. I don't think we will. I think we're just going to continue to see the burial. They're saying that they might even postpone Ghislaine's testimony, which was supposed to be on August 11th. I don't know when they're going to postpone it to. Maybe she needs to study the script a little better, needs some more money to get on board. Whatever it is, they're trying to get Ghislaine to, murder the Democrats while exonerating the Republicans. It's corruption. It's so guilty. It's so disgusting that we're allowing pedophiles to essentially run the world, and it's Mossad who's doing it. We're going to go on to some other just smaller topics we have in the media. Like I said, the first part of the show took like 50-something minutes, and now 10 minutes later, we're on the back end of the show. We got 2 to 3 topics left. We are almost done. 160 House Democrats voted to keep illegal immigrants who drunk drive in America. So someone proposed a bill to deport any illegal immigrant who is arrested for drunk driving. 160 Democrats, which is pretty much every Democrat, voted to shut this bill down. The bill passed because there's more Republicans. But do you see how ridiculous it is that Democrats are so fucking woke that they want to keep illegals who are committing crimes, and not just crimes that kill people every year? When they talk about how many people alcohol kills a year, they're mainly talking about DUIs, crashes, things of that nature. We do not need illegal aliens killing Americans due to DUIs. We do not need illegal aliens in this country. We do not need them committing DUIs. So when we have votes to say we should deport them for that, I expect everyone to vote for it, and the fact that we have Democrats voting against it is disappointing. I want people who are on the Democratic side who are more, level-headed, and they're not like completely lost in the liberal woke agenda. Please look up the names of the people who voted for that and don't vote for them again, because you shouldn't want illegal aliens drunk driving, and you should want those people deported. They should be deported. That is the correct thing to do. I don't know. I really want ICE to be doing a better job, but it's hard for ICE to do a better job when we don't even know we don't know what the deportation numbers are. They stopped posting them, and they stopped posting them because they were so embarrassing. We need them to get them back up. I don't know if they will. With the massive boost in funding, maybe they'll be able to, but it is not likely right now that we are getting the deportations we asked. It's likely we're seeing a back-end form of amnesty that they're just not calling amnesty. And I'm going to talk about our last topic right now as well. The Pelosi Act made it out of committee. So the Pelosi Act it's kind of a sham. It would ban stock trading for Congress, which is very good, but it would also, it would exonerate all the crimes of the last 25 years. So it would stop the ability for the FBI, stop the ability. It's essentially a pardon for Nancy Pelosi. Not an official pardon, but it essentially says that anything you did with illegal insider trading over the last 25 years, we're going to let go. But no people in Congress can trade anymore. Nancy Pelosi is obviously heavily supporting this. She has gotten so rich and she doesn't want to, be outed, even though in the media we already know how corrupt she is. She has a net worth of over $300+ million. Her salary is $175,000. She is a better stock trader than Warren Buffett. It's very obvious that she is making insider trades, that she is using the knowledge of the bills they vote on in Congress, the companies they vote on in Congress, and trades on that information. It's very corrupt. It shouldn't be allowed. I don't think anyone, president, vice president, anyone in Congress, House, Senate, they should be able to trade. They should be banned. I know people who work in finance and they're banned from trading. So why aren't people who are voting on these companies and bills banned from trading? It only makes sense. Obviously, Nancy Pelosi supports this because she doesn't want them looking into it. But we can't support this bill. Even though I want them to ban Congress's trading, I don't want them to give Nancy Pelosi a pass. I'd like them to look into her history of illegal trading that happened in the United States. That is all our topics we do have for today. It was a great show, everyone. Like I said, please remember to smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions. Been a little tired today, but I still think we had a good show. We're going to check to see if we have any topics that have popped up, any headlines while we've been filming the show before we go into the weekend. Let's take a second to do that. I see we have President Biden trending here. Let's see if that leads to anything. Nothing specific. There's nothing specific happening. They're just bitching about him. Bureau of Labor and Statistics is trending. Trump has fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner for releasing fake jobs data before the election to boost Kamala. Okay, let's see this. I was just informed that our country's job numbers are being produced by a Biden appointee, the Commissioner of Labor Statistics, who faked the job numbers before the election to try and boost Kamala's chances of victory. This is the same Bureau of Labor Statistics that overstated the jobs growth in March 2024 by approximately 818,000, and then again right before the 2024 election in August and September by 112,000. I'm not going to read this entire thing, but you guys kind of get the gist of it. It's pretty big deal that he fired them. Again, hopefully they're able to get more accurate numbers. I think it's important that we have accurate numbers. Let's see if anything else. Hamas releases video of emancipated hostage in a state of severe malnutrition after 665 days in captivity. The footage depicts him speaking weakly from a narrow tunnel. Let's see if the video is on here. Okay. Is this the video? Yeah, again, I'm not on the side of Hamas or Israel. I think they're actually both very, again, Hamas is a terrorist group, and Israel right now is acting like one. Israel is committing a genocide. Israel's starving these people, which is a very slow, shitty way to die for women and children. It's essentially torture. They're shooting unarmed civilians. So I think they're both very guilty. Obviously, I think having hostages is wrong, and I pray for the lives of the hostages. I also pray for the lives of all the civilians who are just losing their lives innocently, the women and children who are dying, the Christians in the area who are dying, who have nothing to do with this. It's all very sad. So I just think this entire war is terrible and it needs to be shut down. NFL, ESPN finalized $1 billion media pact. The NFL and ESPN have finalized a $1 billion media rights agreement granting ESPN control over key NFL properties such as Red Zone, NFL Network, 7 additional regular season games. In exchange, the NFL receives equity in ESPN's parent company, Disney, allowing the league to benefit from the network's future profits. Fuck that. Fuck the NFL. Again, not the NFL. I actually love the NFL. Fuck ESPN. ESPN's gone too woke. ESPN kind of sucks. And again, Red Zone just become a sham. Red Zone used to be $80 a year. Red Zone's now $400 a year. It's just bullshit. It's too much to watch the NFL. You have to just go out to the bars for sports games or Buffalo Wild Wings or something. But the guy who does Red Zone's a beast. I mean, he does not take a piss all day. He doesn't drink any liquids in the morning. He has 1 cup of orange juice, that's it, and then he just goes throughout the fucking day. No coffee, no caffeine. He's just kind of a tank. We're going to check these last couple headlines, see if anything else comes out of it. I'm guessing nuclear is going to be about the nuclear warheads. Yeah, nothing new there that I haven't talked about. Let's see what stock market, let's see what they're saying. 1.1 trillion wiped out from the U.S. stock market today. The market's been very volatile. That's nothing new. I actually think Donald Trump's doing really well on the market. I don't think he's doing good on the housing market and stuff like that, but he's doing good on the market, the stock market. Let's see, impeached is trending. Democrats lied and impeached Trump to hide their crimes. We should never forget. Yeah, it's just people talking about Donald Trump getting impeached. You do know Obama can be retroactively impeached. Oh my God, again, if we're not going to arrest Obama and Hillary, shut the fuck up about talking about it. I'm so done about talking about the Russian hoax of 2016 if we're not going to see an arrest. I don't give a shit. I literally do not care. I wish every Republican would stop talking about it unless we're going to arrest somebody. I just cannot stand listening to it, knowing that our government is just doing it for headlines and not doing it for anything that's actually worth it. America First is trending. Let's go. Love that. Let's see what that is. If Thomas Massie gets ousted by Trump's handlers because they want everyone to prioritize Israel over America, I'll unregister as a Republican. That's my line in the sand. America First, not Israel. Let vaccine Grandpa Trump and his team know. Yeah, I mean, this is coming after they're, coming at Thomas Massie pretty hard. This is also another Canada just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. That'll make it hard for us. Donald Trump is saying he's not going to make a deal with Canada over trade because of the state of Palestine. It's absolutely ridiculous. The only reason they're doing this is because the United States right now is committed to allowing Israel to commit this genocide. Mira Adelson gave Donald Trump hundreds of millions to allow him to bomb Iran and to annex the Gaza Strip and to set up Israeli encampments there, and that's what they're doing. And it's what, people in the media have been saying they're doing for years, and if you said it, you were an anti-Semite, and now it's just the reality. Now we're seeing it in real time. We're seeing videos of it, and it's getting to the point where this war is almost 3 years old. It's nowhere close to ending. Israel is shooting unarmed civilians and starving them to death in essentially torture. And I'm not saying that Hamas isn't torturing people. They have hostages. They're probably torturing these hostages. I'm not saying Hamas is better. I just don't think that a 3-year war is necessary and that the United States tax dollars should be anywhere near it. I want to be so far removed from this war. I don't want to have to pray every Sunday for forgiveness because my tax dollars are committing a genocide right now. That just makes me sad. It seems like that's probably all our topics we do have for today. There is no other. Let's see. Blueprint just started trending right now. Let's see what that is really quick. Yeah, nothing. Just a dumb thing. Okay. That's all our topics we do have for today. That's the entire show. It was a great show. We talked about a lot of different things. We talked about Trump moving the nuclear warheads outside Russia and how I think it actually is a positive move. We talked about Kentucky MAGA, how it's really just an Israeli SuperPAC trying to get Thomas Massie and America First candidates out of politics. We talk about the Nick and Candace beef, the Nick and Tucker beef, the Tucker and Candace interview, and how Tucker's dad was CIA and Tucker's ridiculous for saying that he didn't realize it. We talked about the CMS Digital Health Ecosystem and how corrupt it is. The Bloomberg media finally catching up to me. We talked about Ghislaine's middle-of-the-night transfer, Trump saying Virginia Guthrie was stolen from Mar-a-Lago, 160 House Democrats voting against your interests to keep illegal immigrants in this country when they commit DUIs, and the Pelosi Act, but how it's actually a sham to try and hide Pelosi's past crimes the last 25 years. It's been a great show. Again, please remember to smash the like button, smash the follow button, leave a comment, send a super chat if you have any questions. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 101 of America Unfiltered. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys do have a blessed weekend, a blessed night, a blessed day. Please be safe this weekend. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything stupid. Call your lawyer first if you do get arrested. I'm James Pascalides. I'm signing off today. Thank you.